Hey, so welcome to Friday's Fraud Law Review. Today we're going over, it is kind of crazy. It came out on August 25th, 2023, as reported by the Office of the Inspector General of the SSA. And that's, as you know, where I tend to gather my my little information here that I review periodically. This one is curious about what you think about it. This involves an indictment, not a conviction. So I'm not using the names of what looks to be two New Bedford men in the District of Massachusetts. They were indicted by a federal grand jury in Boston under conspiracy to distribute and also possession with intent to distribute fentanyl, amongst other things that you'll see as we go down the line here. Because one of them was also charged with misuse of a social security number and aggravated identity theft. One fellow's name, I'll just say his first name, Yo Henry, and the other one was Vinicio. Apparently it was distribution. Those charges were related to something more than 400 grams of fentanyl. Obviously, fentanyl has been so big in the news lately, with the recognition that it's just killing people all over this country. I got strong opinions on that, as some of you might know. So let's see. They babble on about how devastating fentanyl is. We know that. And they go into a little bit of that whole history of how devastating it is and how they're going to crack down. Right. Okay, according to the court filings, as per this report by the OIG, one of the men entered the United States in 2002 on a tourist visa, and he allegedly purchased the identity of a United States citizen and posed as that citizen for several years, which included applying for 2 Massachusetts driver's licenses under an identity that was not his in 2022. So you can see that this kind of spans potentially a 20-year period of abuses of the American system. It is further alleged, following an investigation into the fentanyl trafficking in and around the Lord Phillips apartments in New Bedford. Anybody know where that is? They were identified as fentanyl distributors. Their places were searched, their residences, allegedly resulting in the recovery of more than 800 grams of fentanyl and 1.2 million in cash in suspected drug proceeds. They were quite lucrative. Smart little businessmen, huh? You know, if it was a tourist visa, and I don't know if they get to this later, but does that mean he was no longer actually legally present in the country? Because those tourist visas tend to be kind of temporary, right? Visiting tourist. Okay, moving on. They do mention that the charge of the conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute more than that 400 grams, which is some sort of statutory amount, I suppose. It provides for a sentence of up to life in prison, life years in prison, at least 5 years of supervised release, and a fine of up to 10 million. You know, of course, when they say up to, people say, oh, it's going to get somebody life. Well, no. And remember, it said life years, so that's a little different maybe than life. Up to means up to. It doesn't mean you can't go lower, right? Personally, I think, see, this is the kind of case that I would nail him to the wall. Should ever be walking out in the streets. Fentanyl, how many people did he kill? I mean, we know people died from it. I mean, the numbers are just too high. That's the way I look at it. Fine up to 10 million. Yeah, will they ever see that money? Probably not. I mean, they probably have the 1.2 million that they found in the apartment. So it's probably been, you know, confiscated. The charge of misuse of a social security number provides for a sentence of up to 5 years in prison, up to 3 years of supervised release, and a fine of up to $250,000. The charge of aggravated identity theft carries a sentence of 2 whopping years. It's aggravated identity theft. Why is it only 2 years? To be served consecutively with any other sentence. That part's good for sticklers like me. Consecutive means after the first one's done, you start the second one. The difference would be if it said concurrence, then they run together. So they don't actually pay the price for both. They just kind of get to mold them into one juicy little sentence that is not bigger than either one of them. So whatever the sentence is going to be rolled into the other. Yeah, that's some of the things they do, right? Thin out those jails. Yeah. And that one too has up to 1 year of supervised release. Apparently they think you're good to go after 1 year. And a fine of up to $250,000, just like the other one. They clarify that sentences are imposed by a federal district court judge based on the United States sentencing guidelines and statutes which govern the determination of a sentence in a criminal case. Okay, so they use those guidelines. This was a multi-agency effort, so kudos to them. We have the acting U.S. Attorney Levy. I hope I'm saying that right, or is it Levy? Levy. DEA SAC Boyle, and SSA OIG SAC McDermott. They all made the announcement, I guess. And they also note that valuable assistance was provided by the Bristol District Attorney's Office and the New Bedford Police Department. Woo! Go, guys. Assistant U.S. Attorney Evan Panich, hope I'm saying that right, sorry if I'm butchering it, of the Narcotics and Money Laundering Unit is prosecuting this case. So again, innocent until proven guilty. Should they be proven guilty? I'd like to see the full extent of the law and sentencing potentially be considered. And I do like, as they do this here all the time, which I like to do too, which is what I just did. They end the report with the details contained in the indictment are allegations. The defendants are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. And that, again, is so very important. These gentlemen do deserve the presumption of innocence, and the prosecution just better be well equipped to prove that they are disabled. I mean, disabled, prove that they are guilty of any and all alleged crimes. Okay. And if they are, nail them. All right. Bye, guys. That's my Friday fraud law review. Can you see that I took that one to heart? I don't know. What do you guys think? Thoughts on that one? Interesting.